real-ish. In this video, I'm going to be discussing 10 horror movies from the early 80s, the 90s, and 2000s, okay? I have them in order from 80s to 2000s, and these are just a few that I haven't really talked about on the channel that much, or at all, alright? And these are some that I have watched myself, of course, either numerous times or a couple of times. But nonetheless, we're going to get into it, alright? Let's get into this video. The first movie that we're going to talk about is Cujo, alright? Cujo is from 1983. It's a horror novel from Stephen King, if you don't know Cujo, alright? But we're going to be talking about the movie, not the novel. Okay, so just in case you're not familiar with Cujo, I'm going to read the synopsis. If you don't want to hear it, you can skip through it. Alright, so in this tale of a killer canine, man's best friend turns into his worst enemy. When sweet Saint Bernard Cujo is bitten by a bat, he starts behaving oddly and becomes very aggressive. As Cujo morphs into a dangerous beast, he goes on a rampage in a small town. Stay-at-home mom Donna gets caught in Cujo's crosshairs on a fateful errand with her son. Stuck in their tiny car, Donna and Tad have a frightening showdown with the crazed animal. Alright, so just as it states, he gets bit by a bat, and so you have this Saint Bernard. These are like huge dogs, and so he gets bitten by a bat, simple as it states, and then he starts acting very aggressively. And as it states, Donna, she's a stay-at-home mom, she's married. You know, as it states, she goes on an errand with her son. They're stuck in the car, and Cujo just starts acting a fool. And you can imagine how terrified that this woman and her child is, because the whole time she's trying to protect her son. This son is scared. I mean, if you've ever seen this movie, the little boy does really good, because I'm thinking this little boy is crying like for real, for real. But I mean, put yourselves in their situation, in this tiny car and this huge dog is coming out trying to attack you. So, but in the end, Cujo dies. So it says Cujo dies, and then yeah, the kid, he's dehydrated, and the mom has to bring him back, you know, everything like that, and the mom's bitten and everything like that, but the family survives in the end. So that's Cujo, alright? I really like Cujo. I like a lot of movies that are based off of anything Stephen King, you know? So, alright, so jumping into the next one, we have Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, alright? Beetlejuice is from 1988. After Barbara and Adam die in a car accident, they find themselves stuck haunting their country residents, unable to leave the house when the unbearable Deetses and their teen daughter Lydia buy the home. The couple attempts to scare them away without success. Their efforts attract Beetlejuice. He's a spirit who quickly becomes dangerous. So they call on his name, you know. I think it's 3 times, Beetlejuice, you know. I'm not talking about that new mess they made. I'm talking about the 1988 original Beetlejuice. You know, I have not seen the new one, and I don't plan on it, alright? This is strictly the old Beetlejuice. But yeah, it's a classic that I think anybody my age or whatever, we grew up on Beetlejuice, you know? And the whole time he's trying to get the family, trying to help this dead couple get the family out their house, and you know, they believe they have ghosts and stuff like that. Lydia, the daughter, is the one that sees these ghosts. The parents don't. It's really interesting. But Beetlejuice was a different time, a different era, you know. This is back then, and it's really interesting. So I wanted to put that on this list because I feel like it is one of those classic, you know, movies that get talked about, but I feel like not enough credit for being a part of our, you know, history with us growing up. And eventually, Lydia's parents see Beetlejuice, and they have guests over, and while they have these guests over, they do all these things to, you know, scare them, and it's just crazy. So Beetlejuice is a classic. So, alright, jumping into the next one. I'm not sure if a lot of people know of this movie. Alright, it's from 1989. It's called Society. Now, the backstory of how I came across this movie is doing some research, me and my friend. I can admit that I'm a conspiracy theorist, you know, about the industry, about a lot of different things in life. Won't really get into it here, but long story short is, doing this investigation of different conspiracies, we came across the movie Society from 1989. All right, so it says a California teen's worst nightmares are about his parents come true when he returns home to find a grotesque party in full swing. I've never heard this movie prior to it being recommended to see, and people were like, this movie is absolutely insane. And you just kind of take that with a grain of salt, but oh my gosh, this movie is crazy. It lets you in on what you think people have to do to get to certain levels in life, in certain entertainment, whether it's sports, whatever, but I won't get into all that, because if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to be completely lost. But I'm just going to let you know that this movie is insane, and I would recommend anybody to watch it because it's crazy. It goes there. Like, it's one of those movies that's really out there. And I'm not sure where you can find it, because I think I saw it on YouTube, and this was a while ago. So yeah, I'm not sure. Really quickly, on Reddit, somebody said Society is a super bizarre horror flick, even by 80s standards. I definitely like it, but it's not for those with weak stomachs. Exactly. How do you guys feel about it? Somebody said the character's not exactly memorable. The effects and camera work more than makeup for it. I'm not kidding when I say this movie isn't for everyone. It gets disgusting. Still a fan though. Yes, if you don't have the stomach for it or things like that, you don't, a lot of people say they love this movie. They love it. Somebody said, I feel like it's a rite of passage. Somebody says my favorite movie, one of my favorite horror movies. Somebody said they're not a fan of horror in general, but this movie makes some good social commentary towards the closed, exclusive nature of high society. Exactly. If you know, you know. It does well in portraying wealthy people as narrow club of elites who are a few number induced social aliens born from discrimination against working class people, and the rich resort to intermarrying with each other's family to preserve familial wealth. People focus way too much on the spectacular nature of the body of horror, but the underlying philosophy behind why the movie was made and how it represents elites is much more interesting to me. A lot of people love this, yep. So like I said, that's what the movie is about. It takes you there. Your mind goes there. But like they said, if you have a weak stomach, if you are not able to watch things like that, then you should not watch the movie. But if you are wanting to know about the elite and people of higher brackets and things that they do at certain parties, you should watch this movie, all right? The Society. All right, so jumping into the next movie we're going from the 80s to the 90s now, The Craft from 1996. The Craft is such a classic movie that I used to watch a lot. I actually could have included this on the video that I did about movies that I grew up watching, but I didn't really think about it at the time. So here we are. All right, The Craft. After transferring to a Los Angeles high school, Sarah finds that her telekinetic gift appeals to a group of 3 wannabe witches who happen to be seeking a 4th member for their rituals. Bonnie, Rochelle, and Nancy, like Sarah herself, all have troubled backgrounds, which combined with their powers lead to dangerous consequences. When a minor spell causes a fellow student to lose her hair, the girls grow power mad. So that's what The Craft is about. Like it states, they're wannabe witches. They all have these powers, but when that girl loses her hair, and one thing about that, when somebody has some power, it goes straight to their head. Once they do something and it works, that's all they needed was for that to work, you know what I'm saying? And they go on this craze, I don't know, it's just crazy. Then they have, like they said, they add the new student as a 4th member. They just do some really weird things in this movie. And this movie used to really trip me out. It's just weird. And like they said, they're trying to do rituals. They're doing rituals. You got somebody floating in one scene. It's just weird. And I remember a scene where they are at one of the girls' houses. It's a bunch of snakes. I'm gonna see if I can find that. It's at one point they have this disagreement and stuff, and they're one of them is just really, I can't explain it unless you've seen it, but I'm gonna put up pictures of the snakes and everything, the scene that I'm talking about in detail. And then if I'm not mistaken, I think it was all an illusion. I think. It's been a minute since I've seen The Craft, but yeah, that's basically what it is. These girls, they want to be witches and, you know, just, it was a mess. But it was a very classic movie, alright? Moving on, I don't want to make this video too long. I'm trying to discuss 10 different videos, alright? The next one coming from the 90s, only had 2. This is The Faculty. Now, The Faculty doesn't get a lot of credit that I feel like it should. It's really good. The Faculty, it is a sci-fi horror. You can't go wrong with it. It's a movie that really, it's like about aliens and stuff like that, but I'm gonna read the synopsis really quickly. To students at Harrington High, the principal and her posse of teachers have always been a little odd, but lately they've been behaving positively alien, controlled by otherworldly parasites. The faculty try to infect students one by one. Cheerleader Delilah, football player Stan, drug dealer Zeke, with some of their other classmates to fight back against the invaders. And it comes on like that. Like, you already see how these teachers and stuff, they're just weird and they're trying to infect students. Yeah, they're getting infected and they're like aliens or something, and it's pretty good. One of those movies are pretty good. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of the girls are like, I think the new girl, I think she is one of the aliens or something like that. It's one of them are actually a part of that. And I want to put up the pictures here of like the teachers and stuff turning. And the students are trying to, one Elijah Wood's character is trying to tell his parents like, this is what's happening. No one believes him, you know, but I mean, they do that in movies. They don't ever believe their children, but I would, you know, with something like that happening. I guess to an extent, you know, you have to see what's what. Do you believe it or not? But yeah, they're trying to get them. But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, one of the students actually is a part of that, and I think it's the new girl. Don't quote me though. You're gonna have to look it up yourself. But yeah, so that's The Faculty. Really, really cool movie. And then one time, I think one of the faculty members, they like think they're dead or whatever, or something gets them, and then they like see they're alive again. Like, it's crazy. So yeah. All right, now we're getting to the 2000s. We're jumping right into Jeepers Creepers. We all know Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers. So Jeepers Creepers, we all know Jeepers Creepers. He is I don't know what he is, still to this day. He's some type of something. But I'm going to see if I can say this without looking at the synopsis, because I've seen Jeepers Creepers countless times. You have a brother and a sister. They're traveling together, and they come across this, like, church, I think, abandoned church or whatever. Anyway, the brother wants to go look and see what's down there, and they look and they find like, and Derry wants to go investigate at this old church. I don't know why. And then they get spooked when he falls down there and he sees like a body, and he's like, oh, this is weird, you know. And after they find this out, they're like creeped out already, and then this truck just comes after them, and that's the creeper in there. And the creeper was actually dumping bodies like down there. That's why I think they wanted to go circle back in the first place, to see what was up. And then, you know, the creeper, that's him. I think he comes he comes back every 23 years and he feeds, you know, and then after that he goes away for a while. And then they hear like, after that they hear like the song, and everywhere they go and now they're hearing the song Jeepers Creepers, you know, they're hearing that, and it's weird. They hear it on the radio, they hear it when they get to the diner, they hear it on the phone. This lady's trying to like warn them, and Derry's like, you're crazy, you know, what are you talking about? No one believes them. The creeper finds them. He's going through their clothes, sniffing them. The creeper is just there, you know. But I was like, why would you even want to go down there anyway? You know, I mean, they called the cops, yeah, but just, I wouldn't want to be going down there anyway, because when they're going down there their Derry's going down there to look, it's like rats or something, and then they get freaked out, and that's how he falls down there in the first place. But I wouldn't be wanting to do that. That's really bold of them. But yeah, the creeper, he's nothing to play with. He's coming after them. And I think at the end, does he take Derry? I think he takes Derry and he flies off. Like, he literally just flies in the air, gone. And that's Jeepers Creepers. I'm not messing with that creeper. Dude is crazy. Dude is like, I don't even know what he is, but he's really something else. All right, we're back at another 2000. This is 13 Ghosts. I don't know, I'm not sure if I mentioned 13 Ghosts before on the channel, but 13 Ghosts is pretty interesting. I honestly have not seen 13 Ghosts in like a good hot minute. 13 Ghosts is pretty good. They have pretty good ghosts and monsters and stuff there. Yeah, I remember it's like a dad and he had like 2 kids or something. A state-of-the-art remake of the classic William Castle horror film about a family that inherits a spectacular old house from an eccentric uncle. There's just one problem. The house seems to have a dangerous agenda all of its own. Trapped in their home by strangely shifting walls, the family encounters powerful and vengeful entities that threaten to annihilate anyone in their path. So that's it in a nutshell. This house is like weird, haunted, and it's these ghosts everywhere. I'm gonna find some pictures of the ghosts, like different ones, and I'm gonna put them up, all right? And then you guys can see what I mean. All right, so that's 13 Ghosts. Here's another one from 2001. Trying to jump into the next one pretty quickly. We have Joyride from 2001, starring Paul Walker. If you've not seen Joyride, it says summer break, and college freshman Lewis Thomas Paul Walker decided to embark on a cross-country road trip to pick up the girl of his dreams. All right, it's him and his brother, and they are going across country, but on the way, they are talking on this like radio thing, and they end up like tricking this man on there. I think he's like a truck driver, and they trick him and think that, you know, he's talking to this woman and everything like that. And the man is like, once he finds out that it's not what it is, the man's pissed. Like, he's trying to come after them. They're scared, you know. It's really crazy. I don't even know why they did this, but they're getting this man. They think it's a joke, you know, and the man is not happy at all. Basically just playing around, messing with them. And so it's like a prank. The guy on the other end, he's like I said, he's mad. He's coming after them. And it's like they said, like a cat and mouse type of thing. And he wants revenge because they're playing with him, you know. So he's trying to get them and everything like that. So that's basically what Joyride is about. It's pretty good though. It's one that's not talked about as much. Yeah, and so the truck driver, he finds them, he's trying to get them and everything. So pretty good. Pretty good movie. I'm pretty sure they were terrified at that point. I know for a fact they would not do that ever again. All right. Now we're down to the second to last one from 2002. We have Swimfan. If you're pretty into movies, I'm pretty sure you know about Swimfan. Swimfan is a classic, I feel like it doesn't get as much recognition also as being just one of those really cool, crazy, like weird. This is like the era of showing how weird a person can get, how obsessed a person can get. All right. It says Ben Cronin has it all, the admiration of his many friends, terrific girlfriend. Yes, he has a girlfriend. And he's on the fast track to an athletic scholarship. Ben's rock solid, promising future and romance are turned upside down with the arrival of Madison Bell. Madison, the new girl in town, quickly sets her sights on the impressionable Ben. While their first meetings are innocent enough, the obsessive and seductive Madison wants more. So basically, in a nutshell, this girl is like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. If you've never seen this girl is insane. She's like weird. She wants Ben to herself, and like it states, he has a girlfriend. He ends up hooking up with this girl, you know, despite the girlfriend and stuff, but that was his mistake right there. He's already getting too close to this girl. They end up in the pool together, and that's where she takes things. She's literally thinking like this is her man, and it's not. And the movie progresses, and he gets very irritated with her, you know. It's just, yeah. But yeah, after that encounter, she's thinking this is her man, this is her guy, because he let it get to that point. He, you know, took it there with her. I'm not saying that Madison's actions are, you know, good, because I mean, she became really insane, but just you have to be careful with people like that, especially if you're already in a relationship. You know, these people are just, people can get weird. Things can get really weird. Alright? So that's Swimfan for you. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you go check it out. Alright, so we're into the last one right now. I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, but I did want to talk about each one a little bit. Alright, so the last one is Secret Window from 2004, starring Johnny Depp. This movie is so good. When I first saw this movie, I was like, this man is insane. You know, like, it's a psychological type of thing. And you would really think this man is like crazy. And Johnny Depp he plays all the characters that he does pretty well anyway. But I was like, this man done clearly lost his mind. You know, he's in there the whole time. And you would think that he's like talking to somebody and things are happening, but it's nothing. He's insane, obviously. It says, while in the process of an ugly divorce from his wife, writer Mort Rainey relocates to his remote cabin in upstate New York for solitude, attempting to recover his mental health. Rainey has the misfortune of being found by John Shooter, a farmer who claims Rainey plagiarized his work. At first, Rainey ignores the accusations, but Shooter has no intention of quietly disappearing. Soon, Shooter becomes increasingly vicious in his quest for retribution. So you have this man he comes confront him and about him plagiarizing his work and everything like that. So basically, if you haven't seen it, consider this a spoiler, I guess, but John Shooter is not real. He's a personality, a figure that was made up. Like, he's not real. And he was created by Rainey, John Depp's character. That's what I got from it. Yes, he has split personality. It says here that he's a manifestation of Rainey's own split personality, created to enact vengeance and murder. Basically, like I said, he's insane. There's no one there. That's the twist of it, but you won't know it until later on in the film. I was watching and I was like, you know, I really thought that this John Shooter was somebody, but he's not. Rainey hires a private investigator. Events spiral out of control. He discovers Shooter isn't real. It's his alter ego, basically. A split personality created from his own guilt and desire for revenge. So this is like a really good psychological type of thriller here. And it's really good. If you have not seen Secret Window, see it. And it's a story by Stephen King, but it was adapted into a movie. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell, basically. Check it out if you have not seen it. So those are all the movies that I have. Those were 10 movies from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s that I wanted to mention, that I will watch, that I have watched, that I wanted to share on the channel. Alright, so let me know, have you seen any of these? I recommend that you see all of them, but I highly, highly, highly recommend that you go find that Society movie. Go check it out. I don't know where you can check it out at. If I find out where, I'll pin a comment in the comments. Alright, so I hope that you like this video. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. New videos every week. And yeah, so thank you for watching. Comment, like, share, everything like that. And I will see you guys in the next video. God bless.